Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Now most of us would have heard about something known as SIP or Systematic Investment Plan, wherein you're investing fixed amounts of money at regular intervals and building up your corpus, your fund, whether it's a mutual fund or an equity share. But in this video, we'll talk about a term which sounds very similar but is extremely opposite in meaning, and that is called Systematic Withdrawal Plan or SWP. Now, the financial need of every person is different. Different investors approach investments differently. Some do lump sum, some stagger the investments through SIP route. And therefore, because of this, the fund houses in the country have developed different financial models and instruments so as to cater to the requirements of the different types of investors. And one such financial tool or model is SWP. So if you're a person doing SIP or lump sum kind of investment into a particular fund, and once this fund or corpus becomes quite big in terms of value, then you can start using SWP as a financial tool to withdraw fixed amounts of money from that particular corpus or investment fund that you have built. And therefore in this video we'll talk about things that you'll probably want to know more about SWP, like what is SWP in the first place? What are the various benefits or advantages of SWP? And then 3 realistic questions. How does SWP work? When you should do an SWP, at what particular time should you start using SWP? And finally, from which fund should you use SWP? Should it be equity oriented funds or debt funds? So first things first, and that is, what is SWP? Well, to put in simple words, once you have a bag full of money in terms of your invested corpus, you can decide to withdraw fixed amounts of money at fixed time intervals from the corpus so as to make a regular source of income from investments. So once you have a corpus that is built, you can think of setting a date and an amount and then withdraw constantly and treat it as a regular source of income for you. So it is ideal for investors who are looking as a good secondary source of income in their early age, and once you cross a particular age, as a primary source of income from investments after a point in time. Now coming to the benefits of SWP. Well, like I said before, the most important benefit is one, yes, it can act as a regular source of income from investments for you after a point in time, because once you have a corpus, and once you build this in your early age by regular investing, you can use this corpus through SWP and get money into your bank and act as a regular source of active income after a point in time in your life. The second benefit is rupee cost averaging. Now to understand this concept, let us take the help of an example. Say you want to invest in a particular mutual fund. The NAV or the value of one unit of mutual fund is rupees 500. You have 5 lakh rupees with you, and therefore you want to invest the entire 5 lakh rupees. And therefore, if you want to do that, you will have to buy 1000 units of the mutual fund for a total value of 5 lakh rupees. And say you're doing it in April 2024. Now, say 6 months down the line in September, you're thinking of withdrawing for your personal needs and you're thinking of the withdrawal options. There are 2 options that come in front of you. One is the lump sum withdrawal option, and the second is the SWP or Systematic Withdrawal Plan option. Let's talk about the lump sum withdrawal option first. Say in September 2024, 6 months down the line, for some particular personal need, you want to withdraw 2,50,000 rupees. The NAV or the value of one unit of mutual fund is 498 rupees, for example. And because you want 2,50,000 rupees at the end of September and the value of one unit is 498 rupees, you got to sacrifice or sell 502 units in September. So at the end of September, because you started off with 1000 units, you are left with a balance of 498 units. And the value of this balance, that is 498 units into 498 rupees per unit, which is the NAV, you'll get approximately 2,48,000 rupees as your closing balance value at the end of September. So let's compare the lump sum withdrawal option that we just spoke about now with the SWP option. In the SWP option, say you're setting a particular date every month and you want 50,000 rupees according to your financial need every month. This particular table gives you a glimpse of what is the NAV of every month, because NAV of mutual funds keep fluctuating. It is a market driven instrument. So like I said before, the NAV in April, if it's 500, this can go up to 515 for 1 unit in mutual fund in May. This can go down to 510 and so on. In September, it is 498 rupees for 1 unit. You started with 1000 units and you want 50,000 rupees every month. So to get this amount every month as withdrawal, you got to sacrifice 97.09 units. And therefore, at the end of May, you are left with 902.91 units. Similarly, in June, you want 50,000 rupees as withdrawal. You got to sacrifice 98.04. You are left with 804.87 units. Like this, at the end of September, you are left with 514.89 units and you have withdrawn 50,000 rupees for the 6-month period. So the balance units or the closing stock of the units, in other words, is 514.89 units in mutual fund, and you apply this with the NAV or the value of 1 unit in mutual fund, which is 498 rupees at the end of September. You get a value of 5,56,415 or 2,56,000 approximately. So in the previous approach of lump sum withdrawal, you got around 2,48,000 rupees as the closing balance that is left in your hand after you did a lump sum withdrawal. And with 50,000 rupees withdrawal using SWP scheme, you ended up with a balance of around 2,56,000 rupees, which is much more than the previous approach. So because you're doing a withdrawal every month from a fund which is market driven, the increase and the decrease in the market, the rise and the fall in the market, or the fluctuations in the market are taken care of by the SWP scheme, because even after you systematically withdraw, at the end of the 6-month period, you are still left with a value which is higher than the lump sum withdrawal. And this is the benefit of SWP. In other words, it's called the rupee cost averaging concept. Coming to the next topic, and that is, how does SWP or systematic withdrawal plan work? To understand how SWP work, let us first revisit the working mechanism of SIP. So I have for you an SIP calculator wherein I've taken the initial investment per month to be 20,000 rupees. And let's say you're doing the exercise for the next 10 years. The rate of return, say, and you're doing it in an equity oriented fund, the rate of return per annum is around 12%. So 20,000 rupees per month for 10 years at 12% per annum will give you a closing corpus value after 10 years of around 46 lakhs of rupees. Now, once you have this corpus, you are saying that, okay, I've spent enough time investing in my early age. Now let me use this corpus, and through SWP, let me start withdrawing for my monthly personal needs. So now we look into the SWP calculator. In this particular calculator, you have the starting point, which is 46.46 lakhs, which is your value of the corpus that you built through rigorous investments every month. And say now you want to withdraw 50,000 rupees every month for your personal needs, whether it is grocery or whatever personal need that you have. Because you're playing in the same market, let's keep the rate of return around 11 to 12%. And you're doing this withdrawal mechanism for the next 18 years, which is a long period. So 50,000 rupees from the corpus that you built, 50,000 rupees withdrawal every year for the next 18 years at 12% per annum, you will end up withdrawing 1 crore 8 lakh rupees for 18 years put together, and still have a balance of 4 lakh 81,000 rupees at the end of the next 18 years. In other words, because of the compounding magic and the rate of return and all that, and you're only withdrawing 50,000 rupees every month, you are satisfying your need of withdrawing 50,000 rupees every month for the next 18 years and still having an ending balance of 4,80,000 rupees to be precise, to be approximate. Now this is how SWP works. That is, once you have a corpus or a fund that is built from your SIP or your investing journey, you can use that corpus to start withdrawing through SWP, so that even after good amount of withdrawal periods, you still have a balance that is left. Now coming to an important question, that is, when is the right time for you to do an SWP? when to start using the systematic withdrawal plan option. Now, if you're in your early age, most of us would have a regular source of income, regular source of professional or business income, and therefore the dependence on investments as an alternate source of income will not be there, or as a primary source of income will not be there. But once you cross a particular age, say your retirement phase, and you can no longer depend on your regular source of income, then you have to turn to investments as your primary source of income. And that is when it is recommended that you use the SWP option or the systematic withdrawal plan option after a point in time in your age. And coming to the last question, that is, from where should you start doing an SWP? In the market, there are two main types of funds. One is an equity oriented fund where it is market driven, it is high risk, high return, and therefore it is quite risky. And then you have debt funds or debt oriented funds. So when you start your investment journey, people will tell you that you start with equity funds because you can accumulate wealth after a point in time very fast. And once you do that, and once you say, okay, let me start withdrawing that, you can use debt funds for your SWP. So the obvious question is that, okay, once I have a corpus built in equity funds, how do I transfer debt funds? Well, there is a mechanism for that, and that is called systematic transfer plan, wherein after, let's say, 10-15 years of your investment journey, you want to transfer the funds from equity funds, debt funds, you can use that STP route for transferring the funds in debt funds. And then it is recommended to use SWP because in debt funds, the risk is quite low. So therefore, SWP is a good, interesting financial tool for both newbie investors and experienced investors because it helps us in achieving or reaching our financial goals through good financial planning. Well, I hope I was able to make things clear through this particular video. If you like this video, please do show support to us by hitting the like button. If you want more videos like these on a regular basis through way of notifications, you could also think of hitting on the subscribe button. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and thank you so much.